Hi, my name is John Whitehead. I'm an executive and leadership coach, and welcome to this week's video blog post. This past week, I was having a meeting with a client where the conversation turned to what it means to be a professional. This leader manages a group of individuals in the service industry. And one of the challenges that they face is that people don't often view those individuals as professionals. They themselves may have a stigma about their role and what the job that they do. Sometimes they may be looked down on. They may not be treated with the kind of respect. It's sometimes thought of as a job that, has-beens would take up. That's totally false, totally wrong. But again, we're talking about images and perceptions. We talk about the biases that we have about individuals because of the type of job that they have. Maybe the education they would have received for that job may not be at the level that other people have. And so people look down on. There's been a lot of conversations lately about unconscious biases that we would see a person, that individual in that particular role, and the way that they're dressed because they would have some sort of uniform, and people would think less of them because of that. Totally false, totally wrong way of doing it. And we talked into this idea, well, how do you raise those individuals their own self-respect, their whole concept of the role that they have? And that could be one way to do that, is to look at them as a professional. Now, a long time ago, quite a few years ago, I read a book by the author Nido Qubein that talks about what it means to be professional. I'm not even sure if I can remember the title of the book, but it was around this whole concept of professionalism. And the context he used was in sales. I think it was something about being a professional, how to be a professional, how to become a professional salesperson. And even there, right, sometimes the concept of a salesperson, one of the images we get is the used car guy in the checkered jacket, right, fast talking. A total misguided view of what car salespeople are today, but we have that image of a past. And what does it mean to elevate people, to raise their own self-esteem in these roles? And one of them, he comes up with a number of things to think about in terms of what it means to be a professional. And one of them is that a professional provides a valuable service. They have a skill, they develop the skill set to render a valuable service. So think about this for a second. When we think of a professional, often we think of doctors, right? That they have a certain education level. They've learned skills to deliver that service. So in whatever role you have you developed the skills? Are you continuously learning how to do things a little bit different? Maybe one of the reasons you're watching these blog posts is you're trying to figure out how to become a better leader, how to develop those leadership skills. So what are you doing in terms of building that, learning that, those skill sets, increasing those skill sets? What are you reading? What are you taking courses or a workshop? So to be a professional, you need to have certain skill sets. So we think of a doctor and a lawyer, what they need to do. What about yourself in whatever role you are in? Are you learning different skill sets? Are you learning how to do something to continuously improve yourself? One of the others is maintains a unique relationship with their clients. All right, people come to those professionals with specific needs and expect them to be fulfilled. So they have a unique relationship with their client. So a doctor there's a specific thing that you go to a doctor for, or a specific thing you go for a lawyer for. In your role, what do people come to you for? What's unique? What are some of the specific things people would come to you for? Now, I know there's a lot of people watching this with coming from different spaces in their worlds, in their lives, in their jobs. But just think about that. Is there something unique that you offer? And what is that? Because that's what a professional does. Another thing, a professional renders services for which people are willing to pay. You're being paid for what you bring. You have something of value that you offer. What else can you add to that? Is there some value added that doesn't really cost you anything to give? For example, I have a friend who's in the financial services industry, and he often goes that little bit extra value adds for people, whether it's a personal note, newsletters. Of course, a lot of people do newsletters, but he adds a personal touch to it. It's not just a corporate newsletter that he repurposes and sends out. You can tell that he's put some thought and ideas and brings value added to it. Professionals are held accountable for the services they render, right? Or fail to render. They're held accountable. So we know doctors and lawyers, they have schools, boards, colleges that provide services to make sure that what they're doing is correct and they're abiding by standards and practices. In the coaching world, we have a code of ethics that we need to abide by. And we can be held accountable for that if we're seen as not abiding by those code of ethics. So what do you have? I mean, you are being held accountable, right? In one way or another, I'm sure. The ultimate accountability is you lose your job. If you're not providing that service or providing the value, people will stop buying from you. People will stop coming to you for your service. So think about that. You are, right, providing that service that you're accountable for, whatever that is, you're accountable for it. And finally, maintain a professional attitude. This is mindset. And this goes back to how I started this conversation. How do you raise your own self-esteem? Think of those professionals that you know in your world, people we call professionals, the lawyers, the doctors, for example, what they do. And then look at what you have and what you do. There are similarities. We may call them different things, but basically they're the same. You can become a professional. You are a professional in whatever you do. You have, maybe you're an individual in the professional sports ticketing world. You're starting your career. You're moving up the ladder. You are being given additional responsibilities as you go along. Being a professional is focusing on those things that you're being held accountable for, where people are willing to pay for, where you build that unique relationship with your clients, when you are increasing your own personal skill levels, learning, knowledge, education. That's what makes you professional. And all that combined is the attitude you bring forward. Now, what I've talked about is in a sense, one of those soft skills. Professionalism is, I think, combined with a bunch of other stuff, a soft skill. Not everybody can pull it off. But if you do spend the time looking at those things that I just listed off, I know that you can become a professional. It's in here. It's not what others people are thinking, it's what you're thinking. So that's one of the chapters in my book. What are these things called soft skills? So if you sign up for if you haven't already and you sign up for my weekly blog post, you can get a free copy of my book. I'll send it to you by signing up for my weekly blog post. So go to at the end of this video, I'll have the link. Go to that link. You'll find where you can sign up. So thank you again for listening to me, watching this video this week, and we'll talk to you again soon.